Llama Chalk, what's up, dude?
Hey, how's it going? I think we're
So Survivor episode two. I'm rocking the crazy-haired Vince look today. Well, it's not quite as long as Vince, but we both have crazy hair today at least. So how's it going, Jack?
it's good. It's good. It was a good episode. I honestly went in not knowing what to expect. I did not think Vince would be going home, but I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah. I saw it coming. Like a lot of people are like, oh my God, I had no idea what was gonna happen. But I like it was pretty obvious that to me at least that Jen wasn't gonna go home. And then it's basically like in the preview if they're like, oh, Nina causes tons of drama around camp. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, we can put in with 100% certainty that Nina is not going home. Just
Yeah.
like I'm like, I mean, I could be wrong about next week, and everyone could be like, "Oh, man, you're wrong." But like next week, Mike probably isn't going to go anywhere. It's just like because 9 times out of 10, they just like stir up this faux drama and then do the old switcheroo, and then the viewers are like, "Oh my God!" But I saw this Vince thing coming, and I'm annoyed about it because I feel like everybody made a horrible decision. I thought Vince was socially definitely not the best, but
hmm
I think that's just like because of who he is. I don't think he could have done better than who Vince actually is. But I think
Yeah.
strategically he played the smartest on that tribe. I
Who did?
honestly, I honestly think that
Who did?
Vince.
Vince?
Yeah,
I mean, it seems like everyone on the No Color tribe made a mistake last night. Like everyone was all over the place. Like, we can get into it, but like, I mean, obviously going into the episode, like, I didn't know what to expect, but like, you could definitely see like the red herrings from like Vince going home, and like a huge blindside coming his way, because like everyone seemed to play it awfully, but I can see it. Like Vince was the most level-headed there, but I guess there's something to say if like everyone's really bad at the game, and you're the only one that like actually knows how to play the game on that tribe, and you go
yeah,
home.
yeah. I think that Vince has gotten a horrible rap the entire season. He's been edited terribly, and people are just like, "Oh my God, I'm so glad Feathered Creep is gone. Such a horrible player, delusional, worst person on the tribe." I think I'm gonna have a fun time defending Vince this whole entire episode because it's not just because he's on my fantasy team and I'm sucking. I'm two behind right now.
It's
It's
only two
looking dire
episodes in
and
now.
hopeless. But I think that in Vince's we'll get into like the whole entire episode. But let's just do Vince now. But like the whole entire um, episode, I just couldn't help but feel like Vince was going home. And if you read the exit interview with
hmm
Vince, he was saying that like throughout all 6 days he was planting seeds, just tiny, bit by bit, to get people into believing that Nina had an idol. And
Yeah.
that is what got them to split the votes, even though they weren't confident they had Will, and they see Nina and Vince a lot. And that's a great strategic move by Vince.
hmm
And I just think that like the stuff that happened last week with the hugging and stuff just went way overboard. I guarantee you that they have footage of Vince doing that same exact hug with every other tribe member. But
Yeah.
Jen was the only one that gave like she confessional about it that made, Vince look bad.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think Vince had the best strategic like mind on the entire tribe, but I mean, there is something to be said if he can't socially fit in with that tribe. It was his downfall. If he ostracizes, like Will by being like, hey, you might not be like. First off, that was Nina's fault, and
Yeah, it
he
was it
should
was Nina's
never.
fault. I think like
He
Vince should
should have.
have.
He
Yeah, go
should have
ahead.
never told her it though. He should have never told her in the first place. He should have told her it and as like casually. He shouldn't have like directly like said, "Oh, this is like Will's health. This is totally like I don't know. I don't know if he's gonna make it." Like especially right after the challenge. Like give him some time. Give him some time.
Yeah,
And
I think that was like if we can pinpoint a mistake Vince made, that certainly is it. But like in retrospect, I mean, like him and Nina were tighter than it showed on like than it appeared on the show, and I think that Vince like rightfully felt comfortable in just like saying something to Nina, and I think Nina just spilled the beans. And you have to trust people. You have to like you can't just be like, oh yeah, Will six pack, oh my god, he's such a great athlete. And you have to like you know they're out there for 3 days and they have to talk about something, and it's not just going to be superficial small talk the entire time. So I mean, we can only fault Vince so much for saying that to Nina, and I just think that I don't know what Nina was thinking. I don't know if she was trying to just deflect the attention from her so Vince would go home, which I doubt because in the exit interview, Vince said that Nina just ran right back to him and like apologized for saying that and told him everything. But I just think that for Will, it was such a terrible move, and I think for Joe, Jen, and Haley, it was such a terrible move. And for Nina, spilling the beans was such a terrible move. And even though we can pinpoint the bad move by Vince, like on saying that one thing to Nina, I still think that like Vince was the best player on the tribe. And even though he was socially awkward,
hmm
I mean, there was a ton of stuff we didn't see. You know what I mean?
yeah, I mean, he may have been the best player on the tribe, but if he doesn't have the numbers, he's not going to last long. I like want to go through everyone in the tribe and say what they did wrong. Okay, Nina, first of all, going back and being like, hey, thanks for inviting me. You don't do that on Survivor. Okay? I I'm really happy if I get on Survivor because everyone will underestimate me and think I'm like a crazy whiny deaf person or something, and they were all underestimating me. And I don't know, people like give her like such a bad rap for like being deaf. It's like it has nothing to do with her being deaf. It's just because like she doesn't know how to play the game. And I don't. She's from my personal experience because I can say this because like I also have a cochlear implant, but she became deaf like later in life, and I've lived with it my whole life, so I know that no matter what, there will always be something different. So in a group situation, I will always be different about that. But if you let that define who you are in a group situation, you're ostracizing yourself. And she did it to herself, and she let it like define who she was in that group. And it was really stupid of her to do that and to point it out to them, because then she's clearly saying that, oh yeah, I feel like I'm on the outs. So it kind of gives them an excuse to put her on the outs. And that's a terrible move on Nina's part. And it's also a terrible move on Jen and Haley's part for not apologizing to her. In Survivor, you always want numbers, okay? They may have apologized to her, but it seems like they definitely like pushed her away and like, oh yeah, we made a grown woman cry. If you can have Nina with you in numbers, you should want that. You should want everyone on your side. And I don't know why they just like kind of let her do that, because if there's a tribe swap, she could go to the other tribe.
Yeah, I know. This is like what kills me because Nina, I mean, with her disability, even though you have to put a little bit more of an extra effort in, talking to her, repeating things, um, you don't have to really like convince her to be on your side. You just have to put in that extra effort with her as a human being, and then she's the type of person, she's not like a cutthroat player, that she will be loyal to you just for that reason. And come tribe swap, she's the first one on the list to jump ship. And I think you want to align with someone like Nina, who's unassuming, not going to be that great at challenges down the road. She doesn't seem like that big of a strategic threat. So I think Vince had, the right idea, saying like, even though I think Vince did it just from a place of like human compassion, which Jen and Haley lack all of.
I don't know about that.
I know. I think that was a smart move by Vince, because people like Nina are the type of people that end up in the final three, but they're not the type of people that win. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I can see her going all the way. Like, if she makes it past, if there's a tribe swap, she makes it to a tribe swap. If she makes it to merge, I don't see her there being away she's ever voted out. You know, she's a really important use in numbers. You know, she's one of those people you show compassion to. She's going to stick with you. She may cause you trouble like she did to Vince, but if you can ring her in and control her, she's a really crucial number to have. And that's why I kind of say Jen and Haley messed up that episode. And I feel like they also messed up because why the hell do you want to split a vote when there's 3 versus 3? If you don't have Will, why would you want to split the vote? Don't split the vote. That's overthinking it. I know Vince said, oh yeah, there's an idol and everything, but I don't know. It's risky. It's risky with the tribe of 6.
And you know what,
you
like,
only have a solid.
you know what you have to do in Survivor? I mean, they had a fantastic bond with them that we didn't get to see as a viewer, but it seemed like he was pretty tight with Nina and Vince, and he just kind of flipped at the last second, and Joe's like, you know what, he might vote with us, he might not. We just split the votes and see what happens. But like, I mean, it's ridiculous. And I think that if I was on the show, if I was Joe, for instance, and I had Haley and Jen with me in my back pocket, I'd be like, okay, so if there's an idol, Nina and Vince are tight, okay? Those are the 2 people that they think that we're splitting our votes against. So why don't we just throw our 3 votes on Will? If he votes with us, then he's just going to be the 1 vote for Vince or whatever. Vince and Nina vote for one of us, and then our 3 votes go to Will. And even though he voted with us, and that sucks, then that sucks that he had to go home, but it's not one of us. And if he doesn't vote with us, then it's a 3-3 tie, and the idol is for sure not being played on Will. And this is assuming that Nina actually did have an idol. So I think that like people are just, if Rob C was on the show, if this was the Amazon, he'd be like, why don't we just get rid of Will? It seems that he doesn't have the idol. We have 3 votes. I don't want him flipping and flopping. I mean, let's just eliminate the middleman. He thinks he's the big guy on the block. Let's get him out. I mean, but it seems like that's not even an option. And I honestly am disappointed because there was so much hype. And I know it's only 2 episodes in, but like the first 2 episodes of Cagayan were the premiere of Cagayan was infinitely better than the first 2 episodes of this season, and I just think like the gameplay for this tribe was just so horrible. And I mean, last week the White Collar had like a somewhat satisfying tribal council where you're like, okay, So and Joaquin are shifty. They get rid of So. That seemed like the smart thing to do for everybody, and Carolyn didn't have to play the idol. It seemed like okay gameplay, but this one is just like come on, guys. And it just would have been so satisfying for Jen to be voted off in like a 3-2-1 split, a great strategic play right off the bat. But instead we have like Joe, Jen, and Haley. I call them like just the smug 3 because they're just sitting there with like their little grins at tribal council, and now they're running the tribe. So I mean, I hope they get their just desserts when it's a tribe swap, but until that point, like Will just like handed them the golden key. And I mean, and they have a weaker tribe now because Vince isn't there, so they could easily lose the next 2 tribals, the next 2 challenges, and then Will is gone. That Will have to think about that. Vince was a strong challenge performer, and now they have Will and Nina holding them down. You know what I mean? It's just a horrible move.
I think Will's. It's horrible for Will because you always want to be with the numbers, not on the outs of 3, and that's stupid. That's like that at the core of it. That's a stupid move to me. But also I think maybe he was thinking like, oh, they're obviously gonna get rid of Nina first, but that might not necessarily be the case. People can, if you're shifty, they can vote you out, and keep Nina because Nina would be like a useful number, I guess.
But I think Nina and Vince would have been so loyal to Will if he'd voted Jen out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know. It's just, I feel like Nina just got him too paranoid. He got paranoid by Vince. I feel like maybe Joe and Jen and stuff were showing him more compassion than Vince was. Vince thought they were solid. Maybe after hearing that, he kind of, how it's like Joe was saying, like, Vince doesn't really, like, look like he ever trusts you. It looks like he's just looking and seeing if you're lying. Like, that I can imagine him looking at Will like that, and Will being like, "Whoa, dude, like I'm not like I trust you, but like you have to trust me too, you know." And I know I feel like maybe he thought he could get more of a bond from Joe and Jen and Haley and stuff. I don't know.
I mean, I guarantee you that if Will had seen more than the one season of Survivor that he was provided with, like at a hotel when he was in the finals of casting, that he would have made a different decision. Because he probably just like, okay, well, I'm gonna just switch my vote from Nina to Vince because I like Nina more, and it's just like I honestly don't think it was coming from like a very strategic place. He probably just had more of a bond with Nina,
Mhm.
and just decided to vote off Vince for that reason.
It was it's so dangerous too to go. Not only are you going against Vince and Nina, but you're also going against Joe, Haley, and Jen by not doing what they're telling you to do. You know? And he kind of just did whatever the fuck he wanted. And he's like, yeah, I want Vince gone, so I'm just gonna vote for Vince. And that's really risky, you know. Thankfully, it paid off, so I don't think the three will be too pissed at Will. But like, it's like Tyson, you know. You don't want to by voting what they by going against what they tell you to vote, you're going against your alliance, and that may not seem like a lot from viewers, but that's a lot on the island, you know.
Yeah, I think that like Will kind of just gave everyone a reason to target him. Like I honestly think that if the three were smart, they would vote off Will next instead of Nina. They would really just like bring Nina into the fold, really put in a lot of effort with her, and vote off Will next because you know they have to be thinking like, okay, Nina may be deaf, but I'm pretty sure she can split a vote, and Will has proved that he can't split a vote. You know what I mean? It's just like,
She can split a vote. Being deaf has nothing to do with it.
yeah, I know exactly.
Um, yeah. Do you want to talk about other tribes? Because
Well,
this
yeah, let's
whole
just go back to like the beginning.
episode, I feel like I was just let down.
Yeah, it's like every single person I was rooting for, they were just like they're just being stupid. Like the only person that this episode gave me a greater respect, a greater understanding for, and a greater admiration for is Vince, and he got voted off. So I mean, I just like
Ugh.
I didn't like. I thought Dan and his underwear story was just for attention, and I thought it was just like stupid. I think the shtick's getting old. Mike bitching about people not working is literally like Survivor 101. I don't want to lecture about it, but like, come on, dude. And you know, I mean, I can't say anything about
Okay.
like Lindsay or whatever,
Well,
but yeah, go ahead.
can, can I tell you one thing that pissed me off the most about the people I was rooting for that let me down? Was it may not seem like a lot, and it may not be a lot, but Max going off on his own really I really like because Max is my first pick, you know, on the draft and
Yeah,
everything. I like high hopes for him and everything, but going off by yourself and wanting alone time from Survivor, and we see it in multiple occasions, like the rest of his tribe talking about him and stuff. You don't want that on Survivor. You want to give people a reason to talk about you on Survivor. You know, that's I feel like it's Survivor 101, and he should know this, you know. But I understand, like, you're with those people, and you don't want to like fucking talk to them all the time because you get tired of them hearing stories about their kids, what kind of food they had on the airplane on the way over. Stupid, stupid fucking stories. And I understand wanting alone time because alone time really you have to keep playing the game. And as a person who's like, I have okay, my bar for Max is high, and it's not gonna get any lower because it was set high because he fucking taught a class on it, you know. And so for him to just be like oblivious to this one rule that I think is so important, it really like makes me disappointed. I guess I don't know.
yeah, and it's like, I mean, it's different than like going off in the jungle and being alone all the time because like you can find an idol, but then people are suspicious of you finding an idol, so it's like you don't know if it's a cost or a benefit. But going off and swimming naked and just being naked all the time, it clearly makes Tyler and Joaquin like very uncomfortable. And like what something that we didn't really see in the first episode, or like you only saw if you were paying attention, is that like Joaquin and Carolyn are tight. You know, Joaquin did not want to vote for Sherilyn last episode, but he just did what So was telling him. But like by Max and Sheeran alienating or just distancing themselves in any way from Tyler, Joaquin, and Carolyn, those three could easily team up and vote off Sheeran. Like there's um, a confessional, a secret confessional with Tyler who's saying like, if this like continues and this gets to be more annoying, we're gonna have serious talks about getting rid of Sheeran.
Yeah.
And I think you just have to gauge like if it's no caller and everybody's just like naked and having fun, or if you're like going off and doing it just Max and Sheeran, just hanging out and swimming, but to like just be around Tyler and Joaquin when you're naked and they're clearly uncomfortable with it, that it's just it's inexcusable. Like Sheeran and Max should know better.
Yeah. And I don't know. Like, if there's one person I gained respect for this episode, it would be
What was that? I think you're frozen. I don't know really what's up with Jack. I don't know if you can like see him right now or if you can just see me. I'm not a technological guru or anything. Hopefully he'll get back soon. Oh, hello, Jack, buddy. Hello. So it's around these times that Rob as a podcast would, answer questions, but we don't have any questions. Hello?
Oh yeah, am I back?
Yeah, I think you're back. I was monologuing there for a sec.
Okay.
What were you saying?
I was just about to text you.
Who went up
I was
in
saying
your
Joaquin
about Joaquin? Yeah, definitely. I liked
because
Joaquin a lot this episode.
I mean the only reason he went up was because of his challenge performance, and he fucking killed it at the challenge, and he's like a beast. But like, and like I also like how he's like getting closer to Tyler and like the rest of the tribe and stuff, and not letting like the whole So thing kind of like distance him, or at least from our perspective. But if Joaquin goes up about the rest of the people that I was rooting for, because they really like dropped the ball this episode for me at least. I don't know, Mike, Max, uh, the whole no collar tribe. I don't know. It was bad.
Yeah, and I think with like the no collar tribe, I mean, if there's any rival for like who's playing the best, it would be Haley because like at least even though she alienated Nina, she made it so her name never really came up. It was either Joe, Jen, Vince, or you know Nina that was on the chopping block. But I definitely liked Joaquin a lot. I think that like his confessionals are awesome. I love the way he talks. I think that he's obviously a recruit, but I think that like these are the types of recruits that I really like on the show. I mean, Will might be better later on. It's only 2 episodes in, but right now I'm not digging Will that much as a recruit. But like people like Jeremiah from season 28,
Mm-hmm.
and just like the bonehead recruits that bring nothing to the show, I really don't like. But I think Joaquin is a great character, and he killed that challenge. And I love the challenge. What do you think about the challenge?
That was good. I know you're big on dives. I saw you posted something on Reddit about dives, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh wow, like this must be madness. Oh, it is, and I don't know. Like the first people to dive were pretty good, and then the rest just sucked. But
Yeah, the diving was pretty horrible. And I just like this challenge because so often in Survivor, it's like, oh, blue collar's in the lead and they're still in the lead and then the puzzle comes and then it's like basically like the whole first part of the challenge had no impact whatsoever. But it was such a fast moving and intense challenge and I felt like everybody was like it was so intense and people were just like giving it their all. Like you saw people just like lunge themselves over that thing. Like Joaquin just like threw himself over. Like people were so intense and yeah, the dives were pathetic. Like that's I saw like the first few dives in the preview. I thought Dan did great. Vince had a good dive. Tyler was mediocre, but then like, you know, Haley takes the cake for the worst dive. That was pathetic. And everybody else, had their legs flop and like it was just bad. But Joe, I'd say Joe and I don't really remember Joaquin's. They had good dives. I appreciated good
if
dive.
if I ever get on Survivor, my I'm gonna dive like Chet in Micronesia, just like with my feet and my hands at the same time. It'll be good. It'll be classic.
Yeah, I think that if I get on Survivor and I fuck up my dive, I think I'll just swim to the bottom of the ocean and drown myself. I couldn't live with myself. That's the time in the show that I have to execute.
Vote yourself out.
So you kind of cut out for a sec. Hello? So while we're waiting for Jack, I'll tell you why I think San Juan del Sur sucked. Because I think you guys all have a right to know. Cast was horrible. Bunch of recruits. The non-recruits were boring. The recruits were boring. Everything about the season was just horrible. Hello? Jack? Jack! Are you
Hey,
there? I still can't hear you. Oh, you're back. Can you
I
hear
am.
me, Jack? Sorry for anybody who watches this and gets annoyed with the technical difficulties. We do our best here at Llama Talk, but our technical staff is limited. Um, but I mean, despite the technical difficulties, hopefully Jack will come back on. We'll finish the episode. You won't get too discouraged from watching. Hopefully, you'll stick around. Stay tuned. Um, are you back? Can you hear me? This picture is popping up. I don't even know if you can hear me right now. Maybe it's my problem.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, kind of.
Kind of.
No, no, no.
Maybe we should, because
I can hear you now.
you can hear me now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's the shitty college internet. I apologize. This probably isn't fun to watch unless you're doing something really cool. Well, my thing freezes, but sorry. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Just
Yeah, I
it
was
keeps
doing
like freezing and
we should have a like designated plan that I do something awesome whenever you go off air. But I'll come up with ideas for that later. But quickly, so we can kind of, you know, wind down the podcast. What did you think of, Blue Collar? Because we haven't talked much about Blue Collar. Really, the only thing was Dan and Mike being weird again.
Yeah.
And that's in the scenes of the next episode. So what do you think will come from that?
I don't know. I feel like you said, I feel like Mike will be a misdirection. He seems like too good of a character to not make it far. I don't know. I just have this feeling about him, and I feel like we both have that. He seems like a. I understand what you and say, you know. Yeah, it just kind of like pisses me off, I guess. And then I feel like probably if Blue Collar does go to Tribal next week, it'll probably either be Dan or Lindsay. I'm leaning towards Dan going home.
I I would say that I would say the same thing. I think that like what I had in my head was Vince was either going to be, one of the first few members of the jury at best, hopefully tribe swap, but at the very least, a Drew Christie, maybe episode four-ish type of fun episode, Blindside. But for him to go out this early, I was I was surprised. Um, and I mean, you never know. Mike could be out the door next week, and we'd have no idea. And I've been trying to look into like these social media hints,
Hmm.
to see, what the heck the deal is. But I mean, everybody on this cast is. I mean, it's getting to the point where like I'm actually more annoyed by it now. I think the Dirty 30 thing is. I feel like they're trying so hard, and it's just like, come on. I feel like they're just being disingenuous.
There, I don't know. It's like Kuga and I can see why they all were like really close because they're all just like they're close in a way where they were like all like nice to each other, and I feel like they all were proud of how their season did and proud of how they all played brought. Kind of see why they were all like really close together. But this season's just so weird because like you have freaking Vince and Max like rooming together, and apparently they're not roommates, but I don't know. And you have like they all like everyone always gets like either dinner together or goes to Hawaii together or freaking gets breakfast together. It's like so crazy. It's like they don't have any other friends but each other,
Yeah,
and
and I think
it's
that
really
like
weird.
yeah, I think that like I don't know. For Max, it just seems like it's like come on, dude. I feel like the only reason why you're investing this much effort in your relationship with Vince is so you can get a few funny tweets out of it, you know? And it's just like come on, I can understand like you're wrapped up in the whole Survivor experience. You want to make the most of it, and you want to be with all the cast members, and maybe they're already lobbying for like their Survivor 32 appearances, so they want to have like Survivor 30 being loyal to each other for that season. So like, you can pull out 100 conspiracy theories, but I'm just getting over it. I think that like I think that the thing I like about Joaquin is that he comes out, he's invested to a certain point, but then he's back in New York, chilling, doing whatever,
Hmm.
and it's like, but like Max and Sheeran, it's just like non freaking stop. And I do think that like I don't know what happened to the social media ban. I mean, it's gotten to the point where
It's
like
definitely gone. It's definitely gone, dude.
yeah, I think that it does like as much as people are being like, oh yeah, like they're all so chummy, and I just said this a few minutes ago, they're all so chummy, so we can't even anticipate anything at all. Like it seems pretty obvious that Max and Sharon are tight, and they're going to go pretty far. And it seems pretty obvious that Joe and Jen are very tight, and they seem pretty excited, and they're getting great edits, and they're probably going to go far. So like there is, to a certain degree, you can kind of just it reaffirms things when you look at their social media. And I do think that like I don't even know how I knew this, but just like before the season, I knew that Haley and Kelly especially were just going to be non-factors. Like I just knew they were going to get horrible edits, and that might just be because of like their social media presence or something. But I don't know. I'm annoyed with like the Dirty 30, and especially after like this horrible tribal council, horrible moves. I was expecting better from all the players because they're so. And Jeff hyped up the gameplay so much. He's like, "Oh, we just saw incredible gameplay." And that might still be to come, but I mean, this was terrible gameplay this episode from all
Yeah,
three tribes.
yeah. I don't know. Like, I hope it's more to come. You know, I hope it. It's two episodes in. I think it will be more to come. Also, I think see episode 4 and 5 are going to be back to back roadouts.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I don't know what will happen with that. Maybe it'll be, I don't know. But yeah, it. I really hope there's more to come, and I think there will be. There must be a reason Jeff like hypes this up so much. Like, as much shit as we give Caramon, it was an entertaining season at the time, and it got more interesting than this season has so far. But I don't know. I this is a great cast too. That's the thing. Like, it's a really good cast, and it can go either way. I feel like as bad as these people were, they can learn while they're in Survivor how to play Survivor well, and I don't know. That's something that would be cool to see.
I just think that these are like they're making mistakes that people like in the Survivor, like if they were playing Survivor Australia, like all the way back to season two, the cast members of that season would be like, what that idiot doing? You want to like ostracize people in the group? We're gonna vote you out. Like it seems like after 29 seasons, these simple mistakes you wouldn't see them as much. But I just think it shows how after 5 days, people are completely stripped down and they really can't help themselves. And I think that's a large part of the Survivor casting is getting people like Mike who just work so like blue collar to the soul, and they can't handle when other people don't share that, especially on a tribe labeled blue collar. So as frustrating as it is to see Mike do that, it kind of is endearing because we're like, okay, he's legit. He is who he says he is. He is blue collar to the bone, and that's good for the tribe.
Yeah. I don't know. Are you still tell me what you think about Jen now? Because we were like kind of hyping her up, and I still like Jen, but there are things that she did that like pissed me off this episode. But what do you think?
I I mean, bad. I mean, she's not even from Sonoma. She's from Long Beach. She did Sonoma to do winemaking. I haven't seen a single picture of her in Sonoma. She's out in Hawaii in the Philippines with Joe, and they're on their honeymoon. She probably doesn't even like give a shit about Sonoma, to be honest. Like, she just seems like I don't know. I thought I was rooting against her this episode. She was just kind of being a bitch, and I feel like she always has something to complain about. And it's not even funny. Like, it was kind of funny when Jeremy was like, "These guys are so stupid, and they don't. It's just the rain and stuff." But it's just like everything is like everything is just so negative all the time, and it's not like funny. Or snarky. It's just like makes me just kind of sour when I hear it. I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. I think the one thing I did like was she was like, I mean, there is truth to her. Like, Nina is right and wrong, you know. And sorry, are you there? Did I cut off for a second?
No, 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 you're good.
Okay, Nina's right and wrong, but Jen's right and wrong too. There's a lot of truth to what Nina says and a lot of truth to what Jen says, and I can really feel for Nina as a deaf person, and I can really feel for Jen as like a fan of Survivor. But I don't know, like what I really liked from Jen was she was like, I've been watching this show since I was 8, and I'm so happy to be here. And that was something I really appreciated. We don't get to see that a lot from like fans, and I don't know, I just thought that was like really nice for someone to really like show genuine appreciation for how excited they were.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I just think that like I mean, even though I'm younger than Jen, I still kind of feel like she was being immature, and maybe because I do have like a deaf friend, but like especially in the game of Survivor, you just put extra effort and stuff. And I think that Vince was right when like even though we didn't get to see it all, like Nina isn't just like a little toddler baby who's just gonna cry about anything. Like she probably had legitimate reasons um, for feeling excluded. Because I mean, as frustrating as it is for people to have to repeat themselves something like you can't even imagine. Well, I can't imagine. You can. How frustrating it is to like have to live through that. And that Vince was, you know, Vince's approach was very, compassionate, understanding, and it was refreshing to see that. And I think with Jen, it's just like
It's
she
like,
didn't want to have to make the extra effort, you know? And I feel like it's just so negative. She's like, oh, Vince is just a creep who hugged me and stuff. But, Vince has had exit interviews saying that him and Jen had like, hour and a half long, really human, nice conversations before anything. It's not like he just came right off the bat and had a crush on her and stuff.
yeah,
But I think Jen is just so preoccupied because she loves Survivor and she's a fan. She's so preoccupied with just like, oh, I'm gonna make like really funny, sarcastic confessionals. But I mean, it didn't really come off as like Yates-esque. It was just like,
yeah,
and not even Corinne to the point where it was so mean that it was funny. It was just like, it was just kind of like mean in my opinion.
yeah. I know. I mean, I feel like Will kind of has the same genuine approach too, um, with Nina and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
And I know, I was thinking about it today. I can't remember. I remember like hearing, like when returning players come back and they're like, I think this was Dawn or something. She said something along the lines of, "Oh, last time I played for other people, now I really want to play for myself." And I know that just like kind of struck me because it's like if you think playing Survivor for other people is bad, like you have to look out for other people and make them think that like you want to play for them. That's the way you should be playing and stuff. And like if you think that like your fault was playing for other people, you have no idea how to play Survivor.
Yeah, and I
And
think that like, I mean, the no collar tribe is interesting because I mean, people like Vince and Nina, if I was on a tribe with them, I would be so stoked because after that first day with Vince and Nina, you can already tell what they need in order to like feel good about themselves. Like it's obvious that Vince just wants some reassurance, and even though it's like, oh well, I shouldn't have to do anything for Vince. Vince should just be a big boy, and I shouldn't have to give him anything. It's the game of Survivor. You want to win, you should do it. And Nina just needs some extra effort. Feel like she is important enough for you to put in that extra effort to actually get to know her, to get to communicate with her, instead of getting kind of frustrated with it, not putting in that extra effort. So people like Jen, for instance, like I have no idea what they want from me in order
yeah,
to like be a good ally for her to be loyal to me. But people like Vince and Nina, you just have to like give them what they want. And I think that Vince, he's just gotten such a bad rap for saying like, oh, I need the reassurance, or I need some um, affirmation that I'm actually working on the tribe. But I think that he's just the type of person that um, Survivor is tough for because he lived an entirely different life at home, and I like seeing those people on Survivor. But
mhm,
I mean, it's obvious that he is insecure because he's normally not around these model Joe type people who are, you know, the everyman who's friends with everybody.
yeah,
He's normally has a set group and he just wants to feel included, which is a normal human emotion, and people aren't catering to that. And I just
yeah,
think that's like it's not that hard because basically like I mean Survivor. The fun thing about Survivor is that you just go on there, and the only thing you have to do is be nice and make friends. Sure, it's tough when you have to cut them, but the easy part is just making the friendships, and that shouldn't be. It should be enjoyable to make the friendships. You should be like, oh, Nino, where are you from? Oh, this, that. You just have to ask continuous questions and make them feel important. I don't know. I just feel like Jen was like in Vince's exit interviews, he was like struggling not to say bad things about Jen, but
Hmm.
people like Haley and Joe, like after the game got to know, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I like them and stuff." But in the game, like you have to make more of an effort. Like if you can be
Yeah,
this good of friends outside of the game, you should be 5 times that inside the game because you should be making more of an effort.
yeah. I am. I agree. One thing I was thinking about when you were talking about that is I feel like people don't appreciate how great a game Tyson played, especially just watching him over 3 seasons, how he learned from his mistakes. He learned like not to like isolate people and just to like put up with them. I feel like he did that. Like I see Monica and Nina. He was able to like comfort her and stuff. I see like a little bit of Coach and um, you know, and Vince because like he just needs that reassurance and he does have like an ego and like you kind of like just need to like make him feel comfortable, and just make feel people feel comfortable can like if you're that for them, then they're going to be with you 100%. Coach would have never voted Tyson out. I feel like Monica never would have voted Tyson out.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that people like someone like Dan on the blue collar tribe is someone who, come tribe swap time, if the blue collar doesn't go to tribal, could be extremely, extremely valuable.
Mm-hmm.
And he might be pissed at, Rodney and Lindsay and Sierra, and someone like Mike is like was so smart in kind of using that outlier, even if it wasn't like with manipulative intentions, just
Mm-hmm.
getting to know the outsider. And last episode when Dan was like, I'm just getting a lot of heat, and Mike was able to tell that in that moment all Dan wanted was just some action, and Mike was like, "Yeah, you know what? You are getting some heat. I see that. I understand that." And that's what you gotta do. That's what made me like Mike so much that first episode, is
Mm-hmm.
that he saw what Dan needed. He was the only one to see that, and he gave it to him in a way that, like, I haven't seen. That's the only moment I've seen that this in these first 2 episodes.
I know. It's maybe it's not as interesting. Maybe they don't show it on TV, but I would I would hope everyone's trying to do that, and everyone's trying to like make an effort at least, like one thing I hate is I don't know, I think it was 28, season 28 where it was like Spencer and Tasha were like, yeah, we keep trying to like no, better is a better example is Redemption Island where like you have two tribes that just won't talk to each other. You won't let them talk to each other. And that doesn't make like good TV. I want to see people make effort to try to get to know each other, not just be like, yeah, I'm sticking with these people and you guys are going home. That just doesn't seem fun to me and doesn't seem right. I want Survivor come merge people to be together and you can like talk to people and make new relationships with people, and I don't know,
I
because
think,
it goes a
yeah,
long way.
I think part of it, people are scared of, if you already are clicked up in, like, your 3 click with Haley, Joe, and Jen, you don't want to give people within that click reason to doubt you.
Hmm.
And because if they were honestly smart, they would have voted off Will because he gave them a reason to doubt them. So that could have been a thing that Will did horribly that bit him in the ass. But I think that just, in the shelter while everybody's around, it doesn't even have to be a strategic conversation. Just invest a lot of time, laugh at Dan's stupid jokes. Um, and yeah, like, I mean, it's not that freaking hard. It's all right. It's 39 days. It's 39 days. It's the best time of your entire life, and all you have to do is make friendships and then watch them cry when you crush them. So I mean, it's not that hard. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, I agree. What did you think? Do you think it's time to wrap this up? Or
Yep, let's wrap it up. What do you think the funniest moment was? I mean, I really don't know. I was kind of turned off the entire episode. I was just kind of like, screw this.
Um, Maybe it was Haley's face during Tribal. Did you catch that?
Yeah, I caught Haley's face, but I also I kind of Haley's dive was, I mean, it was pretty bad.
Was it? I have to go back and rewatch it.
Yeah. Um, let's just give it to Haley's face. I don't know, just Haley. I mean,
Haley in general.
not it's not a funny. It wasn't really a funny episode. I mean, you know, we who did we give it to Vince last week?
I think we did. Yeah. Do you
Let
wanna?
me. I don't know. Let's just give it to Haley's face. It wasn't a funny episode.
Whatever. I don't know. Maybe it's just because we were so invested in other people that just let us down. It was hard to kind of pay attention to how funny it was, but I don't know.
Yeah, and I just think that like all the nude stuff, it's just like I think this bad thing about casting, super fans is tend to like they tend to try too hard and just seems disingenuous. Like Dan and all the people streaking and stuff, and people like Joaquin, who I just think like I'm not saying he's going to do well. He might get voted off next week for all I know, but I just know that he's just a great cast member because like I think he delivers like the fast money loose women lines, and I feel like he's just a strong character. But I believe him. I believe what he's doing. He's not there's no like not like a shtick that he's putting up like
Yeah.
and I just don't. I'm not buying most of the no collar tribe and most of the white collar tribe at this point. Like Joaquin and Tyler, and that's basically only the people that I feel like aren't putting up a lot of shtick right now.
Yeah. People have been saying Joaquin kind of reminds them of Dr. Will from Big Brother. I think Dr. Will would probably be a way better player, but I can kind of see that where it's like they are honest in a way where they're like, yeah, I'm gonna stab you in the back. Like that's what I intend to do in this game. And they don't phone him off. And like they trust him because they're honest with them, but they're still like, I don't get why you trust me. I'm gonna stab you in the back. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, and
And
I
I
like
don't know. I kind of like that character.
yeah, I like it too. And I honestly, out of all the people, I think Tyler is the most similar to Dr. Will, just because there's like Dr. Will didn't give a shit. Like Tyler doesn't care about the edit. Tyler doesn't care about, you know, making great TV. Tyler doesn't care about coming off like a strategic mastermind. He's like, I'm just gonna win. I'm gonna, I'll pretend like I have zero interest in the game, just like Dr. Will through all the competitions. He's gonna be like, I'm gonna pretend like I have no strategy whatsoever, even though you have people with such big egos like Sheeran and Max who's like, yes, me going and streaking was a strategic move because I want to do this, this, and that. And you have like Tyler's just like sitting back saying like, whatever. And I just I think that if Tyler was more interesting in confessionals, maybe had a better haircut, he could be a lot like Dr. Will.
I don't know. One thing I really liked from Tyler is he seems to be on point and seems to be paying attention at all times from every like confessional we get from him. It's never like, oh yeah, I'm so hungry or something. It's hey, I think Max is going out there to streak and be by himself just to like put our minds off the fact that he knows so much about this game. I feel like he has like eyes on everyone on his tribe. And that's like someone being in the position of being like a potential swing vote. That's someone like that's really dangerous and really could like go far in the game.
Yeah, and he's relaxed, he's calm, he's confident. Like there's a reason why multiple people in their pregame interviews said like I want to work with that tall blonde guy, which we confirmed in later interviews they were all talking about Tyler, not Joe, because Joe does not have blonde hair, people, and Tyler's not a ginger.
Yeah,
God,
people,
yeah,
duh.
some people are just idiots. But I just think that you know that just is the type of person that people want to work with. If you feel like you can tell something to Tyler, like Carolyn told Tyler about the Immunity Idol, and you can feel like confident because Tyler's like, I don't have to tell anyone else right now. And people like Max and Sharon are like, oh my God, what can I do with this information? I have to use this to propel my strategy to the next level. Tyler's like, you know what? This might come in handy later on. I don't really know where it falls right now. I'll play it, see how it goes. I'm just gonna play it cool. And I love that, I love that character.
Yeah. Yeah. You're getting me pumped about Tyler, talking about Tyler. I like him. I like Tyler a lot. The first episode really it really like boosted my expectations for him because he's not as douchey as he was in interviews, He's actually like seems like a good player, and the fact that was it Sherilyn, right? The fact that she was like comfortable enough to tell him about the idol just like it's like astonishes me because like I'm like how the fuck did he ever get her to tell him about that,
Yeah, and he's confident, and obviously confidence can be a bad thing in Survivor, but like in his confessional that's online, he was saying like, we might have to have serious talks about getting Sharon out, but he's like confident that, if I want, I can talk to these people and try to get Sharon out. He's not timid and afraid to make moves, and he seems like, when I just look at them, like Tyler looks like a big nerd and Joaquin looks like the cool kid, and you wouldn't think that they would get along. But I think Tyler is doing a great job bringing Joaquin into the fold. And I mean, I don't feel like I'm just getting the winner vibe from him. Like my gut is telling me he's not going to win, but like my all signs point to that he would make a great winner. He has the potential to win. But I could definitely see him being like a blindside late in the game, or maybe even soon. I don't know. But I think that up until this point, he's probably playing the best game in my opinion.
Mm. That's fair enough. That's a good case. I'll go with that. Yeah, I would say Mike maybe, but now that he did that whole, outburst, and we're gonna see it next episode too, that kind of. I think Tyler is a good contender for who's playing the best game from what we're seeing on TV, of course. But yeah, I go with that too.
Yeah, and I think that people might be like, oh, well, Tyler is like the fourth person after Max, Sharon, Carolyn, and then it's him. But I'm just thinking like their tribe's pretty strong. He knows that. He could have afforded to get rid of So. He kept Joaquin, and that won them the next challenge. I think that the people who are strong, the people like Joe, Jen, and Haley, and Max, Sharon, and Carolyn, those are the type of people that two of them get screwed after the tribe swap. And people like Tyler are the swing votes come tribe swap time. And he knows that. And right now he's playing for the tribe swap. I think he's smart enough to know that, okay, then I can position myself as a swing vote at the tribe swap and then solidify myself as a leader of a powerful alliance. Because so many people want to just be in a power position right off the bat and have that security, but that doesn't help you when you are going into the tribe swap.
The thing, I don't know, I think Tyler's smart to know that even though he's not in the core 3 right now, the hardest thing about having power in a tribe is keeping the power. And so he can easily, with all the information he's gathered and stuff, I feel like he could overthrow the person in power easily, And I feel like Tyler's a smart enough person to know that it's too risky to be in a power position for like a long time, because it's hard to keep that power position and be like a big target,
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like the way I'm looking at it is if Tyler and Joaquin at the tribe swap are stuck on a tribe together, I don't think that Joaquin tries to stab him in the back. But I think that if Max and Joaquin are on the same tribe, I think that there's a greater chance of Joaquin stabbing him in the back, or Sharon, or people like that. But I feel like people are very secure with Tyler, and next week we could be talking about how wrong we were because he just got voted off. But um, I don't know. Who do you think is going to go to tribal next week?
I don't know. I think it would be cool if Blue Collar goes to tribal. I think that would be interesting to see like tribes like completely, even. Um, I don't know. I feel like my gut is telling me Blue Collar's probably gonna go to tribal next week, but I don't know how that will turn out.
I mean, the only
Yeah.
things I saw like a the episode titles for episode 4 and 5, and one of them was "We're finally playing Survivor," so that could just mean like, oh, we're getting to the nitty gritty. We're finally like, it's getting cutthroat, but it could mean like that's the first time Blue Collar goes to tribal. And I do kind of get the like the Tan Dang or Braun vibe from them, where they're just like the type of tribe that loses. But I don't know. I feel like it could follow the same format as this episode, where it's like the preview tells us that no call is going home, and Nina no call is tribal, and Nina's going home. That's what like the preview insinuated, but no caller ended up going to tribal. Nina didn't go home, so it could be the same. Like blue collar goes to tribal, but Mike doesn't go home. And if I had to bet money, I'd probably bet that. But I think that we could see no caller or white collar again. I think that no caller has the physically worse tribe.
Yeah. And one thing that was really interesting to me that I caught was I thought it was really weird that before like the theme song or like the theme song for Survivor
Yeah.
started, um we had like we had blue collar talking as if like Lindsay and Dan being like, hey, like next time I go to tribal, he can keep laughing, but I'm gonna get rid of him, you know? And I thought that was interesting. I think maybe it could be like it could go either way. If no color like doesn't go to tribal, I wouldn't be surprised either because I feel like they're kind of building that like story up to be pretty big. I guess like the Lindsay and Dan rivalry. So I don't know. I guess we'll see what
Yeah, I
happens.
think that. Yeah, I think that's a fair point because I mean, it's like how long are going to drag this out for 5 episodes where they don't go to tribal council, but they still show people being annoyed with Dan? Like, I feel like it's the perfect timing where it's like Dan's annoying. Oh, remember Dan's kind of annoying, and then boom, Dan's annoying episode.
Yeah.
Um, Instead of it just being like kind of drifting off and off. Like, why'd you even mention it in the first episode if it doesn't happen until episode 5, and you're going to mention it every single other episode? So that's a strong point. I still, it could just be a crazy episode where someone random like Rodney, like you see Rodney like slamming the wood. So I feel like him and Mike might have a power struggle. And I'm honestly surprised that the idols on Blue Collar and No Collar haven't been found yet.
Yeah.
What do you think about idols? Because I think if Vince and Nina were they even looking? I'm sure they were looking for idols, but like, I mean, I I question how hard it is to find the idol because like it's just in a tree
If
near
Carolyn was able to find it, like with no clue, like
very quickly on like day 1 or
yeah,
day 2 or something. I just think like come on, dude, it's in a tree. Like while you're getting water, or while you're going to the bathroom or something, like you could probably find the idol.
yeah. I
And what are
don't
they
know.
gonna do when they go to tribe swap and only one tribe has an idol? It's gonna be like disappointing for production.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope like you can never really tell with an idol, like how people are gonna find it or stuff like that. But I don't know. I hope they find it because that would be better TV at least. You know.
Yeah, and I was like, obviously my expectations were too high for this season where it's just like, oh, the gameplay is great. Like I was expecting there to be, a 3-2-1 um, split of votes with Jen going home. That's a great strategic game move. And then, oh, next week you have like, you know, Dan finds an idol, plays it, gets rid of Rodney, and like, it's like crazy moves going on. But I mean, the first two boots have been kind of obvious, and I still feel like there's um, some obvious boots left. Like when Nina gets voted off, if she gets voted off, it's going to kind of be an obvious episode. And I mean, I feel like the Vince blind people are saying hashtag blindside and stuff. I thought it was so obvious.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's if there's like you made me think about Dan and stuff like that, and I feel like they're kind of building his character up, and I feel like Jeff really likes him, and I feel like we're seeing more of him than we are of Lindsay and stuff like that. So if there were to be like a tribal with blue collar, I could see like maybe Dan or Mike finding the idol and using it to save Mike, because Mike feels like a big character to me. Kind of like, I don't know, like Vince went home and Vince seemed like a big character to me.
Yeah, but you could see with Vince, like with Dan, it's not like they're not going out of their way in the editing room to make Dan look bad.
Yeah.
They're showing some of the goofy, zany stuff that he's doing, but it's not like Vince where they just try and make him look really creepy so people are happy when he's voted off second. Which is, I mean, I can understand the intention of the editors because, like, I mean, I kind of invested more time reading interviews and like looking behind the spiel that they were giving us from the editing board with Vince. So I wasn't happy to see him go, but from the casual viewer's perspective, I can definitely see why they were happy with Vince going home, which is kind of annoying because I feel like Jen and Joe are getting great edits. They're probably going to go far. But I definitely think Mike's been getting a great edit. He ate a scorpion, threw up, and they edited him so he didn't look like a dumbass.
Yeah.
So I think that is, there's a reason why they did that, and I think that he's hopefully going to rebound from whatever stupid shit he's going to do next week, because it wouldn't make sense if he didn't. Because Vince totally made sense. Like, everything from the editing perspective, it made sense that he went home.
Yeah.
Not from the game perspective, but definitely from the editing.
Yeah. I didn't see that. That's a good point. Oh no, I'm pumped for next week. Hopefully it will be better gameplay. I don't know.
And hopefully someone from your fantasy team will go home.
Yeah,
I don't Survivor
know
gods, please.
You ever think there'd be a time where like I just like sweep all of your team? Oh wait, no, you have Mike. I want Mike to stay. Oh well.
No, I have some good people. Mike, Joe, and Haley, and
Tyler.
Tyler and Joaquin and Carolyn. Carolyn, so far, I feel like right now Carolyn's the steal of the draft.
I feel like
she has an idol, and she's getting a lot of confessionals, and she's probably gonna do pretty well.
I feel like Kelly's your steal of the draft.
You have Kelly.
I have Kelly?
Yeah.
Yeah! Yeah!
Kelly sucks. I mean, Kelly is the casting decision that I'm like most disappointed in because like Jen, as much as I'm kind of rooting against her right now, I mean, I'm not like calling Jen off 100% for the whole entire season, but she has to earn back my investment, But yeah. Kelly, I just feel like is just such a casting dud. I mean, it's I don't even think it's just the edit. Like if you look back at her secret scenes, what she's saying, it doesn't really sound that interesting when she's talking. She's not very good at, she's not very good at talking. She's not very eloquent. She just kind of comes off in a scattered way that's kind of boring to listen to. And I feel like she has no idea how to play Survivor. She's just the nothing that's going to be middle of the pack.
You know what's funny? That's the same thing people probably say about our podcast.
Yeah, it's probably true. Magnus sucks. He can't string a sentence together. He has no chance of ever getting on Survivor. He's ugly. He is 6'4", is too tall. He's gangly. He's weird.
People like your hair. People like your hair.
One
It's like,
person on Reddit liked my hair, and then everybody else downvoted it. I
hey,
was like, what are you
I
talking about, dude?
upvoted it, man. I upvoted it.
I mean, I voted it too.
Oh well. Um,
Well,
yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know what Kelly looks like, to be honest. Just because we haven't seen her like ever, I honestly forgot what she looks like. I know she's blonde. I know she's short, but I cannot tell you anything else other than that.
yeah, I mean, I'm not complaining. I don't want more confessionals from her. Honestly, I would kind of just prefer if she just like disappeared. Like we didn't even have to invest an episode in her being voted off. Like people like Kelly and Sierra have brought enough where like I can feel like I can enjoy an episode in which they either go home or succeed. But with Kelly, I just feel like just nonsense. Like just like a double boot episode where you spend 5 minutes on her and 55 minutes on the second boot or something. Like I don't know. We'll see how it pans out.
Yeah. Oh well, this is a another podcast under our belt.
Another good one. Energetic. I'm on 4 hours of sleep. Gonna write another essay tonight.
Hmm.
So I hope the one viewer that I see right now, wish me luck. I'll be thinking about you. I'll be thinking about you, Jack, and hopefully I won't die while writing this essay.
Okay, hopefully not. Yeah,
Okay,
I've
well
heard.
I'll see you next week for Llama Talk. Hopefully that episode it's gonna be worse because there's no Vince, but hopefully we can cut our losses and someone good will go
Yeah.
home who we want to go home.
Also, FYI, they set a release date for the first episode of Big Brother Canada 3.
Oh, when is that?
So I think it's sometime this month or maybe next month, but it's coming up. It's close. So yeah, I'll text you about it, and if viewers want to watch Big Brother, you can watch it from us because we'll be going over that once a week, not like 3 times a week, but we'll do it once a week, and yeah, we like Big Brother Canada, and I think you guys should all watch it because it's actually like really good if you enjoy Big Brother and you're into the whole strategy of Survivor and everything like that. You should definitely watch Big Brother Canada. We'll go over it, and you can watch it if you want.
Yeah, and we're in the U.S., so like we don't really. I mean, we're not the biggest live feed watchers. We're in college, we have work to do and stuff. But I know I'm gonna have like the Twitter update, so we'll probably be like in tune with what's going on in the live feeds to a degree. It's not like Survivor, where it's just like we have no idea what's actually happening. So it's gonna be fun with Big Brother because we can actually like with like certainty, critique people being like, okay, that was dumb for X, Y, Z. But there's nothing that like, oh, I actually did apologize to Vince in the forest, and we did this, and that. They just didn't show it. Like we can actually, follow the important storyline. So it's going to be, and plus we have a lot to talk about because I mean, it's not necessarily a spoiler-free podcast. Like we're going to see who wins Power Veto and talk about it or whatever before it gets aired. So. Um, but we're gonna have a lot to talk about, so I think that should be a fun podcast. We're gonna do another draft, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'll kick your ass at that one too.
No, yeah, no. I don't think so. It's still early, Mike, Joe, Haley, Joaquin, Tyler, Lindsay, and Carolyn could be the final seven. You never know.
That's I, that's true. Oh well. I mean, your track record for Big Brother drafts haven't been that great, but maybe you have a little bit of Canadian in you.
Yeah,
You know.
maybe. You never know. You never know. I've uh never been too good with the USA. I mean, I feel like I'm Swedish by blood. So, I mean, I don't know how that translates into Canadian TV shows, but maybe it's going to be better.
Okay. Oh well.
Okay,
That
well,
should be fun. Uh, Good luck on your essay, by the way.
yeah, thanks. I'm going to need it. So you guys can just imagine me at 5 a.m. tomorrow after no sleep whatsoever, banging my head against this desk where this computer lays, and you can smile a little bit at that image. But so I'll talk to you next week with Survivor episode 3. Another fun episode of Llama Talk. Okay, see you later.
See ya.